All right. Well, welcome. I'm glad you made it to the meeting this week and the training. So excellent. So today we are going to go over um, building your business through webinars. And so webinars are a very powerful way to build your business and to grow your business. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So building your business through webinars, how webinars can transform your business. So the first question is, why attend and invite people to your webinar? Okay, so one of the reasons is to learn to present the business yourself. Now, the more you watch it, the more you're going to learn the different things to say, how to respond to things. When we have these webinars, we have generally a few different people on, and they're going to ask the questions that you're going to run into over and over again, because when we have a bigger pool of people, you have a larger option or a larger inventory of questions that are come at you, and so you'll get to see what different people's responses are, the different ways that people process and they think about the business, and you'll learn how the presenter is able to respond to those concerns, those objections, things like that. And so it helps you learn how to present the business. As far as for the people you invite to the meeting, you're able to use an industry expert to gain credibility. So oftentimes we will invite our friends, family, coworkers, things like that to these meetings, these webinars, or we'll try to introduce the business to them. And because they know us personally, they don't really give us a lot of credit. You know, they say a prophet is not accepted in his hometown is kind of an old prophecy. It actually kind of comes out of the Bible and things. And so essentially what that means is, if they know you growing up, they're not going to consider you an expert. If they know you before you were successful, they're not going to consider you as being an expert once you are successful. And so a lot of times it's better to gain that credibility by having a third party, someone else in the business, present it for you. It also displays social proof. And so when they see other people on the call or interested in the business, in the opportunity, or even in the service, they're able to get some credibility and see that, oh, it's just not me being crazy, trying to get conned into the next up and coming thing or whatever, but it gives that social proof that there really is a market out here for this service. And there's also a market out here for the people wanting to get in and grow their business. And so it displays that social proof. And it also establishes an initial investment. Now we're going to go into that a little bit more, but they have to invest their own time and such to show up to the meeting. And like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. So Demio is actually a webinar presentation software platform. It's not one I use Zoom, but Demio has this great article on their website. It's actually 10 reasons why webinars are great for every business. I just grabbed 7 of them. But reason number 1 is you can deliver tremendous value through a webinar. And so your audience can also ask questions and get real-time feedback through the training. And so this is where we talk on our webinar about why to use Top Agent Referral, why it's important to use the best agents in the industry, and we give them information about how those top agents do sell homes for higher prices or negotiate better deals than the standard agents do. And so we're providing that value. Reason number 2, like I alluded to earlier, is it positions the presenter as an expert in your field. And so just because it's free doesn't mean they're not exchanging anything for the content. And this goes back to the investment part. To attend a webinar, your prospect has to register, put in the date in their calendar, set aside time for the event, show up at the right time, and then give their time to the webinar. And so that's that initial investment that I talked about. Reason number 3 is you can make sells without selling hard. And so your webinars should have a soft sell, should soft sell your prospects without ever having to hard close anybody. So we present the information, we're able to take away some of their obstacles, some of their hesitations throughout the presentation. And so by the end, it's a simple, do you want to do it or not? It's a very simple sell, it's not a hard sell action. Number 4, you can communicate with hundreds of people from anywhere in the world. This is obviously evident in my case as I give these presentations from Costa Rica, which once again also kind of gives that broader social proof. Luke has been giving his presentations from his trip in Europe. He's currently in Italy giving webinars, and so it gives that social proof. And so we can work with people who are US citizens who may be traveling or maybe what we call expats living in another country, but they're US citizens, so they're still able to get US income. They can still work, receive an income while they're out of the country. And so that's one of the great benefits of our business. But it's also one of the greatest reasons why webinars are the best. They have the ability to conversate with hundreds of people virtually right over the internet. This also works really well. I give presentations to people who are on the East Coast and the West Coast, Alaska, Hawaii, all at the same time. And so instead of having to go to each town and talk to each person individually, I'm able to kind of hit everybody across the nation. It's another one of the powers. And that goes back to that social proof. Reason number 5 is they keep your audience engaged. So webinars are special for 2 main reasons. First off, they're one-time events that happen live. If the audience shows up late, they miss part of it. If they don't show up at all, they miss all of it. And this is the power of scarcity. So this puts into their mind that element of scarcity, and it's the foundation of the webinar campaign. So basically, they don't want to miss the opportunity to find out about it. They know it's live. They're going to try and attend on time. Second reason is the conversational engagement. They get to have their voice. They get to chat. They get to speak. They get to vocalize their opinions, ask questions, answer questions. Someone's asking or chatting with them. They're being taught. The more focused and engaged they are by default. And so the more we're able to engage them, that's why I say put in the chat this, answer this question in the chat or unmute your microphone at the end. I have a question and answer period where I ask them to either unmute their microphone or put their question in the chat, and that allows them to engage and really get a better sense of learning and so forth. Reason number 6 is you can generate new leads, and so there is always some kind of registration. Now, we can take a look into maybe doing some registrations on your own if you want to do that. Maybe in a later training, I'll look at that. But right now, when they register through my webinar portal to get on the calendar and register for it, I collect their name, their email, their phone number, what they're currently doing for income, and who sent them there, how'd they hear about the opportunity. And so with that information, if you send your clients to your prospects to my webinar, then I will always send them back to you. And same thing with Luke. That's why we have that, how'd you hear about this opportunity? And so, but through that process, we've already generated a lot of information to be able to follow up with them and get back in touch with them. They've highlighted themselves as a lead that is interested in whatever we're teaching about. And so we've already broken that barrier. And the last reason I want to share with you from this article was you can speed up your sales process and get an ROI, return on investment, faster. So if you, the faster you can convert a lead into a customer, the better you'll be. Webinars really speed up the process simply because they take all of the initial funnel steps and merge them together, let you build trust, deliver value, kill objections in all a small period of time. So in the standard lead generation funnel, I don't know if you've ever seen a sales funnel, but it starts with trying to get their name and email, and then trying to reach out to them and teach them a little bit, give them some product identification, let them know about your product or service, and then walk them through the next step of, will you buy this little thing, and then upselling and so forth. And also trying to cancel out objections all along the way. We take care of that in a short amount of time by getting their registration, all that contact information when they register, and then presenting the value of the service that we're providing with Top Agent Referral, and then the value of getting into the business, and we take away objections all the way through the process. And so it's a great way to really speed up your return on investment and how long it's going to take to follow up with them and nurture them through the process. So that's 7 great reasons why to use a webinar. I got all these, like I said, from this Demio. This is their website right here for the actual article right here at the bottom. So that's where you can go and check out the full article if you're interested. So building your business through webinars, it's best if you can attend them with them in person. So if you have someone, just like in this image right here shows, this guy is sitting down with this lady, and they're just at a coffee shop or something, and they're sitting behind the computer. If you can attend with them, that is the most powerful. Otherwise, you need to try and be on the webinar when your prospects or when your clients are going to be on the webinar as well, so that you can kind of talk to them or follow up with them and know what they saw and answer any questions, know what questions they asked as well. So it's best if you can attend with them in person or at least remotely at the same webinar. Number two, immediate follow-up is essential for the best conversion. If you want to convert a prospect into a business partner, a team member, or even to find out they're not interested in the business, but you want to turn them into a referral partner, someone to send business to you, it's best if you follow up immediately following the webinar. I usually try to give about an hour or so for them to digest and then get back to them. Other experts say follow up within 5 minutes right away. But I like to try and give them just a little bit of time to digest, come up with some additional questions, but you don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait, a couple of days or something like that, unless you absolutely have to, because you need that immediate follow-up while it's fresh in their mind before they get a bunch of outside objections, other questions and things kind of derailing them. And another thing is, even if they do not join, they'll learn the value of the service. So we go in depth about why to use Top Agent Referral, why the service is important, why it's protecting clients, why we only work with happy clients. And so through that process, even if they decide business isn't for them, they see the value of Top Agent Referral. And so when it comes time to buy or sell a home, it's a lot easier to reach out to them and say, hey, you remember that business I showed you? Keep me in mind whenever you're ready to buy or sell a home. And by the way, if you know anybody else wanting to buy or sell a home, I accept referral partners. I work off of referrals. Please remember to refer me business. And so they've already seen the business. They understand the service a lot more thoroughly because of the webinar, and you're able then to take them into that next step if they decide they don't want to get in the business. And that's why I try to go with the prospect as far as talking to people about the business first, because it really does develop through the webinars the value of the service we provide. So this is how we can start inviting people to webinars. And this comes, you saw it in the training. We've talked about this in previous trainings as well. You've seen it in the Facebook group. On September 20th is when the original post for this is. But the question is simply, when it comes to adding income to your household for your family, do you keep your options open? All right, so you need to learn this phrase, get it in the back of your mind so you know it right off the bat. When it comes to adding income to your household for your family, are you keeping your options open? Now, they're going to respond yes or no, okay? So if they say yes, this is the follow-up right here. I'm into something I'm extremely committed to, and I thought of you. I have no idea if this will be for you or not, but it's a 30-minute webinar which someone in the company will be explaining everything in detail on date and time. Are you available to listen in? So we're going to get to the schedule in just a moment, but if you have an idea of when the next webinar is, because you want to do the next one possible, okay? So I say, are you someone from the company will be explaining in detail on Saturday at 9:30 in the morning Central Standard Time. Are you available? If they say no, then I say, okay, well, great. Well, what time of the week is good, or day of the week is good for you? And then I can look at the schedule from there and see about following up with one of those other dates and say, okay, great. Well, how about this date? Okay. So this is with a follow-up there. So learn the follow-up as well. So once you get are you keeping your options open? If they say yes, you need to know how to get them to the webinar. And that's this second part right here of sharing the opportunity with them. If they say no, do not push it. Do not try and get them into the business. If they say no, you can simply say, you can explain how Top Agent Referral helps buyers and sellers, but do not discuss the business opportunity with them other than to say, look, I'm in this business of connecting buyers and sellers. Are you in the market to buy or sell a home? I would love to help you out. And if not, please keep me in mind and let me know if you have anybody else who is interested. All right, so that's number 3. And then the next thing I want to look at here is another approach, and that is the Feel, Felt, Found strategy by Tom Hopkins. And you can do a search for an article by him. He has some great stuff. And so this is basically what it breaks down to. when you talk to somebody about the business or about anything, it could be about the service itself. These are the responses in the sales, and it's to understand how you feel. I understand how you feel, and this wording lets the customer know that you've heard them, him or her, and you can relate. And so it's that you're sympathetic, you're empathetic to their situation. And then the second follow-up is initially whoever it is, felt that way. It could be initially I felt that way. Initially this person I talked to felt that way. And you're letting him or her know that their initial thought is common. And it brings meaning that the situation can change, okay? And then what they found, or what I found, however, was that after doing X, Y happened. So I'm going to show you how we apply the feel, felt, found method with introducing people to webinars. So X is what you want the customer to do, which would be either purchase the product, put down a deposit, whatever. And so for us, it'd be attending the webinar. And the Y is something positive that they will receive in exchange for the great deal. All right, so let me show you how this works for inviting people to webinars. Simply ask the question, have you ever considered getting into the real estate industry? Now, if I were to ask that, you can get a bunch of different responses, but a lot of times I hear, I've really thought about getting into real estate. I thought about getting in as an investor, or I thought about getting my real estate license, but it's too expensive, or I don't have the money, or I don't have the time for schooling. You know, whatever it is, you got to listen to what their reason was, what their problem was. Have you ever considered getting into the real estate industry? Yes, I have, but this, or no. If they say, yes, I have because it has a ton of money available, I know people who make a lot of money in it, I just don't know where to start, okay? So you follow that up with, I understand how you feel. I understand how you feel. I also know there's a ton of money to be made in it. I understand how you feel. I've wanted to get into it, but have had trouble with the time as well. You know, whatever it is. Initially, I felt that there was no way for me to get into the business as well. Or initially, I didn't think I had time to be able to start a new business in real estate as well. What I found, however, is that after attending this webinar by this great company, that I was able to get into the real estate business at a relatively low cost. Or I was able, what I found out is that after attending this webinar, I found out that I can do this part-time in my own time, working around my schedule. And so this is how you can follow up with that. I understand how you feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. I wanted to get into real estate business as well. I felt like I couldn't do it either. After attending this webinar, I was able to see how I could make this idea of getting into real estate a reality and not have a problem of time, or not have the problem of a large schooling, or not have a problem of a large investment, whatever it is, right? Because it is relatively affordable to get into this business. So I hope that helps. That gives you two different ways. You have the feel, felt, found version, and you also have where you can ask them about, sorry, I went back too far here on my slides. Where you ask them, have you ever considered getting into real estate? You also have when it comes to adding income to your household, are you keeping your options open? So first, when it comes to adding income to your household, are you keeping your options open? Follow that up with the invite to the webinar. And then the second one would be, have you considered getting into the real estate industry? I'm just kind of skipping through again. Sorry, I backed up too far. There you go. Have you considered getting into the real estate industry? Two different ways. Follow it up with feel, felt, found, and you'll be good to go. All right. Hopefully those give you some ideas. Practice those things over time so that they get natural. Going back to the previous training where I went over the why, who, what, where, why, when, and how, if you know how to answer those questions to the business, you'll also be able to respond to any questions they may have. So I'm going to give you some additional tools. These are some posts that I've made for social media. I have these in a Canva account. If you have a Canva account, let me know. You can create a free account and we can share these resources, these materials with you through Canva very easily, just www.canva.com. If you do register for an account, send me your login email for that account, and I will get you connected to the team so you can get these access to these things right away. Otherwise, the other thing I'm going to do is I will put in the description on the recording, I'll put the links to these. I may include them in the follow-up email for the recording as well, but I'll include links to where you can download these particular ads. And so these are all ones that you can use on your social media, just asking them to message you for details. And this is that when it comes to adding income to your household for your family, you keep your options open. Do you want to set your own hours? And this one is free information, how to make money in real estate online. So just a couple of different approaches. You don't have to use these. I just want to give you some tools maybe to use your social media to try and generate leads as well. But really, talking to people is going to be where it's really going to start the best. And so this is the webinar schedule currently. When Luke comes back from his vacation, we are going to work out a different training schedule, webinar schedule. And so it is going to change. I think we're going to try and get maybe one link for both of us. We're trying to work through some logistics. So be watching for things to change in the future. But right now, this is the schedule. This is the links to the webinars right here. You can register for either Luke's or mine. Make sure you do put in, make sure that your contacts put in that you sent them, your name in there, and we'll follow up with them. Also, try to attend the webinars yourself. They change. We've been evolving and putting in slides, taking out slides, changing our approach a little bit. And so continually come to the webinars, learn what we're saying, learn your responses, listen to the questions that the people on the webinars ask, and try and think of how you would respond as well. And yeah, just make sure you get people to these webinars. And this is where, like I mentioned, when he said, are you available at this or that time? This is where you would say, okay, well, the next one, right now it's Friday morning. For me, the next one is tomorrow at 9:30. Usually Luke has one here in about 15 minutes, but because he's traveling today, this one is not happening today. But so you'd say, okay, tomorrow, what about tomorrow at 9:30? Oh, my kid has a soccer game. Oh, well, there's another one at 11. Will you be available then? No? Okay, well, how about Monday? You can just kind of work through the schedule as much as you know these, okay? So maybe it'd be good to have these schedules maybe on your phone and know when they are, and just make sure you know when to invite people. So that brings me to the end here, questions and discussions. And so Gus is my diehard, and so I appreciate you trying to build your business and investing your time. Everyone else had conflicts. I know Sandra really wanted to be here, but she had a doctor's appointment, so we're missing her. But Gus, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss regarding the webinars? I can. Excellent. So Gus, how confident do you feel in asking people to attend the webinars with you? Okay. Right, and so this goes back to screening them first, right, and finding out, okay, are you interested in adding income to your household? Are you interested in, what about some people say, you might hear people saying, I'm looking for my side hustle, right, something to do on the side, or are you always looking to add a little bit of income? We're coming up on the Christmas season pretty soon. Right now, it's the beginning of October, but you're going to be hearing people talking about, oh man, I wish I had a little bit more money for my Christmas shopping, or more money to buy my kids presents for their birthday, or I wish I had money to go on a cruise or something. Hey, would you like to find out how to make a little bit of extra cash, part time in your free time? You find somebody who says they want to just replace their income completely. They don't like their job or something. Let me introduce you to an opportunity. Join this webinar and I can show you how you can make some money in real estate. It's a $2 billion industry. Would you like to find out how you can make money in it? So there's a lot of different ways you can approach getting people to the webinar, but those two things right there that I put in the thing, are you keeping your options open? When it comes to adding income to your household, are you keeping your options open? And have you ever considered getting into the real estate industry? You know, those are very common. Most people at some point in time have considered getting into the real estate industry. They know Donald Trump has made fortunes in the real estate industry. Many other people have made a ton of money in the real estate industry. Um, they know the money's there, and so at some point in time, most of them have considered, hey, I think I would like to check that out, but they just don't know where to start, don't have the time, don't have the money for the schooling, or scared of the testing. So that one's very powerful, as well as just the adding income. And so I would start with one of those two questions and work on your responses to those. And it really comes down to your comfort level as to how you're going to respond to those things. And so the more you feel comfortable and confident in what you're saying and your responses, the better you're going to be. You know, an enthusiastic salesperson is going to be way more effective than someone who isn't enthusiastic. And so your enthusiasm will carry a long way. And so if you really believe in this opportunity, if you really believe in the service we're offering, it should come a little bit more naturally, and at least your enthusiasm will carry over. All right. So hopefully that encourages you a little bit. Um, as far as them being receptive, you know, some people want to make money, some people don't. Some people want to get the best deal on their home, some people don't. It's just can't help everybody, and it's just a numbers game. So excellent. Any other questions from you today, Gus? All right, excellent. Well, for everyone else who's watching the recording, make sure you follow up with me. Any questions you may have, get back in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to get your feedback on the training and see what else we can do to get your business growing and so forth. Let me know what you think about how to invite people to the webinars. And I just challenge everybody out there to set yourself a goal to say, I'm going to invite X number of people this week to the webinar. So however many people that is, just put it out there to say, I'm going to invite everybody to this webinar this week and see if they show up. If they don't show up, you can't get them there. So, all right. Well, hopefully that helped, and we'll see you next week. And by the way, if I'm not your direct sponsor, make sure you follow up with your direct sponsor. Let them know you attended the webinar or watch the replay. Let them know any questions you have and where you're at in the process. And I'm sure they would love to hear from you. We'll see you next week.